Oh, is
yes.
this me?
And yes, Ami Kaufman with the news we've missed while scanning the headlines.
Okay, we're going to talk about post-debate repercussions, Republican debate repercussions. One of our favorite topics, I think.
Yes.
Donald Trump was on the Jimmy Kimmel show, and you know, Kimmel isn't really a very one of the late night shows. He's not the most political.
He's not the most political.
Like Colbert
exactly.
or
He's
Seth
more
Meyers, for
very,
example.
And he works on the Disney Channel. So,
but he really, I think, tried, not very successfully, to put a mirror in front of Donald Trump's xenophobic and racist comments.
Right.
You'll decide, I think, if he did a good job or not. Let's see a report.
Let's take a look.
Overnight on Jimmy Kimmel Live, Donald Trump touted his latest debate performance, but he insisted he pulled his punches.
Did you decide you were going to be nicer?
You know what, really, I would like to see the Republican Party come together, and I've been a little bit divisive in the sense that I've been hitting people pretty hard.
A little bit, yeah. Do you think Jeb Bush is scared of you or just scared in general?
I think he's scared.
But Kimmel pressed Trump on his recent call to ban all Muslims from entering the United States.
But isn't it un-American and wrong to discriminate against people based on their religion?
Yeah, but Jimmy, the problem, I mean, look, I'm for it, but look, we have people coming into our country that are looking to do tremendous harm.
But Trump played along when Kimmel gave him the Dr. Seuss treatment.
Now, here are some frogs I do not like at all. We must kick these frogs out and then build a wall. There are two kinds of people. Which one will you be? A loser like them? Would you like to finish? Or a winner?
Like me.
Please welcome the next President of the United States.
For his trip to late night, Trump rallied his diehard supporters in Arizona.
We have the biggest crowds by far. Because there's a movement going on, folks. This isn't just like, let's go and have a good time. Somebody said, oh, Trump's a great entertainer. That's a lot of
With his commanding lead in the polls, the Republican frontrunner is flying high. And ABC News got an exclusive ride aboard Trump Force One. While he's flying high now, Trump says if he wins the White House, he may just leave his private plane in the hangar.
There's something very special about Air Force One, let's face it. I mean, it represents something very, very special, like the White House represents something.
Did you see the gold sink?
I saw the gold sink, and the last time I saw a gold sink like that, because I love speaking about myself, was in Saddam's palace in Tikrit. He had a gold sink just like that.
Comparison.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. They had a gold sink. Yes.
Okay, just a few op-eds because people are still talking about this debate a lot. Gail Collins in the New York Times, columns from New York Times, had an op-ed called Fear, Loathing, and Republican Debaters. And this is what she had to say. Okay. The real battle in the debate was over who could make things sound more dire or offer solutions more drastic. For example, Trump wants to target the families of terrorists, and he drove home the point by repeating a story about the World Trade Center attackers sending all their loved ones back to the Middle East in advance. They wanted to watch their boyfriends on television. The fact that the terrorists had no families or girlfriends in the United States never seems to take the steam out of this argument.
Out of the argument.
A little fact-checking there by Gail Collins.
No, it's just, and the thing is, the sentences like that resonate in this day and age of social media, that resonate immediately when a candidate says something like that. It's so hard to then...
Yes.
And
Kathleen Parker in the Boston Herald is kind of blaming, I guess, the media, or putting some kind of responsibility on the media on why Trump is so prominent and leading the polls. She says, it is customary at this point to blame the media, but we are caught in a double bind. We can't ignore the Republican presidential frontrunner, even knowing that our coverage will lead to yet more coverage. Just as the rich get richer, Trump gets Trumpier, which gets him more headlines, bigger crowds, ...
I'm going to be shot down for this. I'm not comparing, but it's like the argument we all make in the media about ISIS. Why give them the stage? Because it just generates more. And it's the same thing.
Exactly.
It's the same thing in many ways.
But you can't ignore it, right?
You can't ignore it. You cannot ignore it. You cannot ignore it. Yeah. What was it? Should I build a wall? Whatever. Yeah, the Dr. Seuss thing was brilliant. And
Chelsea and Jose Mourinho are done.
And that's why I want to talk to Lev here.
That's why you wanted to be here. As Jose Mourinho, known as the special one, sacked by Chelsea for a second time, by the way, just 7 months after he won the Premier League. And Chelsea said, by the way, in their announcement when they sacked him, that he is the most successful manager that the club have ever had in 110 years of its history.
Yeah. And I want to before because I think there are many issues about Mourinho that need to be discussed.
I'd like to. Yes.
No, that need to be discussed. But we've got. Do we have Yoav Borovich, I-24 News sports sports aficionado and expert on the phone? Yoav, how did this happen?
Good morning, Yael.
Yeah.
It happened because Jose Mourinho lost, and he lost many games. He lost 9 games out of 16, which is totally unheard of in terms of Chelsea's expectations, and especially after winning a championship. And this is something that the club could not live with. And another thing that happened is that also Mourinho started a fight with a lot of players in the dressing room. So he basically lost his dressing room. Players were not willing to fight for him, to play well for him, to play with effort and passion for the manager. And he's gone, and it's a huge news because Jose Mourinho is the most famous coach in world soccer and considered by many to be also the most successful. And the fact that he just failed so miserably this year is something that no one expected.
That no one expected. But do we know what he's going to go next, or we have no idea, right?
Next, they don't know who's going to be the next big manager, but they're looking for an interim guy, and they're looking at Juan de Ramos, a Spanish coach, and Husidink, a Dutch coach. None of them are with Mourinho's...
None of them have Mourinho's standard. Yoav, I want to thank you, and I think Tal Shalev and I are mostly interested in this because we were wondering...
Maybe he wants to come to Israel. I can get him a team here.
Coach, you can get him any
team.
Just say when.
And I think that she's wearing red today because if he would coach Hapoel,
wow,
that would actually be.
And I think after spending time in Chelsea, well, good Mediterranean weather can be exactly what he needs to recuperate.
And nice-looking women.
I don't think he's Hapoel material.
Yeah, he's not really. He's more Maccabi material.
He's more
the Maccabi material. Okay, Jose, maybe coming here. Tal Shalev is waiting for you. Yes.
Totally different topic. We actually mentioned it yesterday when we were talking about the Arab Spring. But this is about Libya. Right. The two rival factions signed a deal yesterday in Morocco to form a unity government. This is, of course, the two different administrations, one that is in Tripoli and one in the more eastern city next to the border with Egypt in Tobruk, which is actually, the one in Tobruk is internationally recognized. The one in Tripoli is not recognized yet. And as I mentioned yesterday, still today, we do not yet know if this thing will be implemented at all because the leaders of both parliaments said that the people who signed this deal have no legitimacy. So the leaders of the parliaments, but the parliamentarians
there... a moment of optimism there on the 5th anniversary of the Arab Spring that Libya may be reviving itself. But
yes, but a lot of optimism there still, and the UN is very optimistic about this, so we'll have to wait and see.
We'll have to see. And
I am very happy about this one, Yael. This is the best. I love this. I just love this. Martin Shkreli, the pharma bro, as they call him, he became the embodiment of greed in the pharmaceutical industry, was arrested yesterday for probably the prosecutors have charged him with illegally using funds from a biotechnology firm he started in 2011, Retrofin. Now, he came to fame in September.
For the man who charged.
He owns a company called Turing Pharmaceuticals. He raised the price of a drug that treats life-threatening parasitic infections in cancer and HIV patients from $13.50 overnight to $750. $13.50 to $750. Yeah. This man is hopefully going to jail very soon. And I just saw, the pictures of him handcuffed and a hoodie. I think are some of the.
And the internet erupted yesterday with vindication.
And the key word was karma.
Was karma, exactly. I've got Oscar music in my ear. I want to thank Tal Shalev and I want to thank Ami Kaufman. We'll be right back now. The news. Stay with us.